Welcome to Healing the Trauma Within. In this session, I am speaking with Ashley Blanshaw, who is going to share her testimony and story about how determination helped her to overcome her 21-year battle with mental illness. But first, let me tell you a little bit about Ashley. Originally from Brooklyn, New York, Ashley is a singer, songwriter, music producer, solo music artist, and motivation speaker. She's also an activist and author. Her singing and solo music career started at the age of around 4 or 5 years old, and her songwriting career started during her freshman year of high school. Her music career really started during her college years. She's the author of 3 books, My Journey to Recovery, Inspirational with Ashley Blanshaw, and I Am Determined. She has a podcast and talk show, Ashley's Inspirations and Inspiration Time with Ashley Blanshaw. Ashley is also an activist and advocate for mental health awareness and is celebrating 21 years of being sober from mental health illness, excuse me. She's in the process of becoming a mentor to people who struggled with mental health illness. And she's also the founder of the hashtag Love Yourself campaign for mental health illness. So welcome, Ashley.
Thank you so much for inviting me to come on. Thank you.
Well, I am thrilled to have you because I love that you want to share your story with us and give our listeners that hope that there's life after mental illness, that, mental health illness diagnosis isn't the end all be all. There's just life after trauma, basically.
Yes. It was a long journey. It was a tough battle, but I suffered from a lot of trauma with it. But, I'm healed, I'm delivered. And now I can share my testimony and my story to people and said that no matter what battle or addiction or disability that they're going through or sickness that they're going through, they can overcome. They can be successful. They can reach to success. They can make their dreams and their goals and their business, or the ministries that they have successful.
So, tell us a little bit about your story. Go ahead and give us that background. And then, we'll talk a little bit about how determination really helped you to overcome your mental health illness.
So, well, as it was said earlier, I am celebrating 21 years of being sober from mental health illness. It was a tough journey. It was a rough battle. It was a tough journey. It was a rough battle, but with God's healing and strength, I overcame it. With this battle, I suffer from depression. I suffer from suicidal. I struggle with self-confidence. I struggled with self-empowerment, self-love, and self-care. I also had a learning disability too. I had a speech problem. And so that also caused, more worse, also caused me to get bullied and teased more. All right. With this battle I was going through, I was bullied, I was teased, I was judged a lot. I was going through some very negative things. All right. But I realized that, it was my responsibility every morning when I wake up. And when I look myself in the mirror, I have to encourage myself that I'm more than a conqueror. I'm the head and not the tail. I'm above and not beneath. I am victorious. I'm a winner. I'm a champion. So my first book, My Journey to Recovery, it talks about my story. It talks about my testimony. It talks about how my spiritual connection with God, how my faith in God, and how me praying to God, and also my music connection, helped me overcome with this battle for 21 years. Because last year I was celebrating 21. Last year I was celebrating 20 years. So this year's 21 years. It was a vision that God has given me back in 2019, because since I was celebrating 20 years to overcome this battle with mental health illness, last year I decided that, it would be a great thing to share my testimony and my story to the people. So it inspired me through this book. And this book has encouraged a whole lot of people. This book has increased, elevate and everything. And so, I thank God so much for my first book, because I'm author of 3 books. All right. But this first book really, 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 took the map. And, it's just, to be a blessing to people. I want people, to be inspired about my music, about my books, and about my podcast and my talk show that I do. I want the people, to be encouraged. I want the people to be motivated. I want the people to be inspired. I want the people to be ministered to. That no matter what battle or addiction or learning disability or sickness that they go through, they will overcome this. They will get healed from this. They will be delivered. And so my first book, My Journey to my journey to recovery, it talks about how my spiritual connection with God, how my faith in God, how my music connection helped me overcome with this battle for 21 years. I talk about how the spiritual words of encouragement, some scriptures that I read, some songs, that inspired me by my favorite solo music artist, all right, helped me overcome with this battle. Talks about how I'm very active in my activism, and talks about how I got started with the hashtag Love Yourself campaign for mental health awareness, because it's about self-empowerment, self-love, self-care. We got to continue to show the love to each other, but we got to make sure that, yes, rejection is going to come no matter what. All right, rejection is going to come no matter what, but it's our responsibility every morning when we wake up and when we look ourselves in the mirror. We got to keep on speaking positive things over our lives. We got to keep encouraging ourselves. We got to keep on showing ourselves some self-love, self-care, and empowerment. So that's basically what the hashtag Love Yourself campaign is about: showing each other, showing ourselves some self-love. Make sure that we are taken care of. Make sure that we are right. That we make sure that we are straight. That we are right physically and mentally. All right, so that's what basically about that. Yeah.
Wow. I'm like over here going, preach. That was awesome. That was really fantastic. So, I also have suffered from mental illness. I have depression and anxiety and that good fun stuff. And I think a lot of us, especially trauma survivors, do have some form of mental health illness that we deal with. How did you decide that you were done fighting it and you were ready to overcome it?
Well, so my third book, I Am Determined, is about making a firm decision, making a firm choice. All right, is about, making a firm decision, making a firm choice that we will continue to focusing on, the great things that God is doing in our life, keep on focusing on being successful, keep on focusing on making our dreams and our goals successful. So that's what my third book, I Am Determined, that I just released, is about. So, but I'll put it like this: before it became my journey to recovery, it had to be I Am Determined somewhere in the beginning. So before I can feel it, before I fully recovered from this battle, all right, from mental health illness for 21 years, I had to make a decision that I will not let this battle, I will not let this learning disability, all right, stop me from being successful, stop me from being the anointed woman of God that God has called me to be. All right. And I decided I was not gonna let this stop me, all right, from making my dreams successful, making my goals successful. All right. It will not stop me from reaching the great things that God is doing in my life. So I made a choice. I made a decision that I'm going to keep on showing myself some self-love. I'm going to keep on speaking positive things over my life. I'm going to keep on speaking great things over my life. I'm going to keep on focusing on being successful. I made a decision that I was not going to let rejection, all right, get the best of me. I was not letting these negative comments get the best of me. I made a decision that I was going to keep on focusing on praying to God, have my faith in Him, and always know that God sees the best in me. God sees the great in me, because when we look at Psalms 121, it says, I will lift up my eyes until the hills, for it's covered my help. My help comes from the Lord, which made heaven and earth. I made the decision that I decided to understand that my help comes from God. Wherever I need, God's got me. If I need to be delivered, God's got me. If I need to be healed, God's got me. If I need a miracle, if I need a blessing, if I need to be delivered, if I need to be restored, God's got me. God is going to fix the situation for me. God is going to handle it. All right. God has everything under control. So I made a decision that I refuse to let this battle stop me from reaching to success and reaching towards the great things that God is doing in my life. So it was my decision and my choice. So I had to be determined. All right, I was going to keep on focusing on being successful. So
you had to reach a certain point where you were ready
enough
to make
enough.
that change. Yeah.
Enough
Yep.
is enough.
I'm
It's like
done.
no more of this. No more trying to please the bullies and naysayers. I gotta make sure I gotta do what's best for Ashley. I gotta make sure that Ashley's taken care of. Like I mentioned earlier, I got to make sure when I wake myself in the morning, when I look myself in the mirror every morning when I wake up, I gotta keep on speaking positive things over my life. I gotta make sure that I'm well physically and well mentally. I gotta make sure that I need to continue to show myself some self-love and self-care and self-empowerment. I gotta make sure that my my self-confidence is increased. Like I mentioned earlier, rejection is going to come no matter what. All right, no matter what, rejection is going to come. Not everybody's not going to love you. Not everybody's not going to support you. But if you continue to focusing on, all right, focus on you, doing what's best for you, keep on being the best you know, continue to know your worth, all right, keep on being the best, all right, you and the best person, and keep on focusing on being the anointed man of God and anointed woman of God that God has called you to be, and just keep on focusing on being who God says you are, and keep on focusing on the calling that He's placed over your life, and keep on focusing on being successful, and keep on focusing on winning, and keep on focusing on doing the great things that He's doing in your life. Everything is going to be all right as long as we continue to keep on having faith and keep on praying as well. I will keep on praying to God and always know that God is still in control. God is still on the throne. God is going to work it out. God is going to heal, deliver it, and restore us. Everything will be all right. All right. So I had to even though it took me a long time to figure that out, even though it took me 21 years of this battle, all right, me overcoming this battle, to figure that out, that God is still on the throne. But I know now, I feel more better now. Now I'm 21 years sober now, and I'm still here, being the anointed woman of God that He's called me to be. So that's what we got to focus on.
Now, it's always been ingrained in us, I think, from centuries past, that we shouldn't focus on ourselves first, that we need to put everybody else first. So when you made the decision to focus on Ashley and to put Ashley first, how did you deal with, or did you deal with, any guilt or shame that came along with that, with making that decision that you were number one and everybody else is next in line?
Well, you know what? Yeah, no, even though, I received a lot of negativity after that because I was focusing on myself, but I had to make sure that I get myself straight. I had to make sure that I was well taken care of because, yes, I was so busy focusing on the bullies and naysayers and trying to get them to love me. I was so busy, trying to fit in with the crowd and doing things, doing things that they were doing just to fit in the crowd, just to get them to love me, all right, and everything, try to accept me for who I am. But you know what? I was like, I'm not gonna pay attention to that. I decided, I need to focus on getting Ashley straight. So let the bullies and naysayers talk. I gotta make sure I get myself well. I got to make sure that I have to focus on, getting myself well physically and mentally. So, it did bother me. I did have a little guilt, all right, because the negative comments I'm receiving also, try to make me feel guilty. But I tried, I'm just going to ignore that because I need to make sure I get myself well. So I decided, let them talk. Let them talk. I gotta make sure that I'm well physically. I gotta make sure that I'm well mentally. So if they want to accuse me of being selfish, they want to accuse me, of not being helpful. But I have to make sure that I'm straight because I was so busy focusing on getting their approval and getting them to love me and focusing on being in the crowd so much that I forgot about Ashley. That's the reason why my mental health illness battle became more worsened because I was so focusing on letting their negative opinion and making their comments of what they were saying to me number one priority, that I missed out all the great things that God was doing out for me. I missed out, all right, all the opportunities that I should have done because I was so busy, focusing on getting their approval. I was so focusing on, try to make them happy, try to make them feel good. But I forgot about myself. And so, I decided, I was determined that I'm going to make myself my number one priority. All right. So I decided that I'm not going to pay attention to the negative comments no more. All right. I was not going to focusing on, I'm not going to focus on what they're saying about me. I was not going to let that negative opinion get the best of me. I got to make sure that I'm straight. And when it was back my senior year of high school that I was like, I'm done with this. I'm done. I'm tired of letting the negative opinion and negative comments stop me from being the best Ashley. So I decided that I made up my mind that in order for me to fully recover from this battle, in order for me to get healed, I got to make myself a number one priority. I was like, I got to focus on. I got to get myself physically and mentally well. I got to make sure that I'm straight. I got to make sure that I'm well taking care of myself too.
Absolutely. How important is it to you to surround yourself with people who are like-minded? who think the
Um,
same way that you think, who feel the same way that you feel?
well, that means, I have a support system that can love me, that loves me for me, that understands that I need to get myself, well taken care of. I need to get myself, well, well taken care of. I make sure that I'm well physically and I'm well mentally as well. So it's a great, type of environment. I feel more better about myself. All right, I feel more great, and I feel more loved. So it would be be put into a, a good atmosphere and a better atmosphere.
So yeah, so having that support system is very important to healing your mental illness.
Yeah.
And the continuing your path. And obviously, I'm going to say that God played a huge role in this for you, because you do talk about him quite a bit. So he's obviously a huge reason that you were able to overcome your battle.
Yes, it wasn't for God, wasn't for the Lord and my music, I would not be here. But God played a main part and a main role in this totally. That's why I praise God the way I do, because God has just been so good.
When you were first getting started, what did you do? Did you go see a therapist? Did you, get on medication? What steps did you take to start overcoming your mental illness, your mental health illness?
So I was like 10 years old, when I was 10 years old, it started to get worse. And so I went to see a doctor. But it was me, but the steps that I took and the tools that I used, that I read the Bible, I sing, I listen to some music, I wrote some songs, and I pray. Those were my tools. So I read the Bible, I pray, I listen to some music, I sing, and do some songwriting.
And you turn your troubles over to your higher power.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Awesome. Well, Ashley, thank you so much for coming on and for sharing your journey with us and your story with us. It's very, very inspiring. And I'm so blessed that you're here.
Thank you so much for inviting me to come on. I appreciate it.
All right. And listeners, thank you for tuning in. And we will definitely talk to you in one of the other sessions.